Alright, welcome back to another exciting edition of Turd Fergie Vision. Alright, so today's lab, and it's always weird when you're on camera too, it makes things seem odd, but today's lab is a pendulum lab. What does a pendulum look like? Well, this is a pendulum. You're always asking, why is there a string hanging at the front of my classroom? Well, now you know it, so we can take a look at this pendulum lab that we're doing. Oh, sorry, I got kind of zoned out for a second. Alright, so if you know what pendulum does, all it does is swing back and forth. But believe it or not, there's a lot that we can learn from taking a look at this pendulum. One of the first things we can possibly learn is volunteer. Will, hop on up here, I love it. Will's going to come on up. We're going to do a little test of fortitude. Put that right, don't, what are you doing? You're behind it. Hold it up to your nose. Now, what I want you to do is let go of it, and then stand your ground, young man. Don't move. Don't move. You move. Yeah, it's on video. Okay. Coward. And here he goes. No. Get out of here. It's kind of odd. It's pretty tough, though, to actually sit here. Yeah, man of steel right here. Is there any way that this pendulum can actually swing back up and hit you? No. It's a question of, can energy be created or destroyed? We've talked about this before. You're on video. No. Which means there is no way that this thing can let go from here. What kind of energy is this? You learned early on there's two types of energy. Potential and kinetic. What kind of energy does this have? Kinetic. This has kinetic? Potential. It has potential. When I let go of it, though, the potential turns into kinetic. So right here I got kinetic. Now what happens, though, after this spot? The kinetic now starts turning back into potential. So let's say I had 5 joules of potential energy here. Is there any way I can get more than 5 joules out of it? No. It means at best, assuming this thing is frictionless and everything's perfect, it should get back to here with how much again? 5 joules of energy. It's not going to be created or destroyed. So there's no way. The only way it could come up and hit me would be as if when I gave it a let go, instead of letting go, I gave it a little. Now that, I would not want to do. But anyway. Here's one of the things in y'all's lab. It's going to be pretty easy. All I want you to do, we're not going to be tying strings to ceiling. Your lab is easy though. All I need you to do in this lab is I need you to time your pendulum for 10 swings. So I need you to time it for 10 swings. Y'all mess up though about 2 different ways, so make sure you're paying attention. Because that'll be where you mess up. First off, I need to turn my stopwatch on. On. Thank you. I'll say Blake Young put in batteries. Hopefully he didn't mess that up. Y'all mess up because you don't know how to count a pendulum. When you count a pendulum, you don't go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's wrong. How you count a pendulum is this. It needs to, guess what it needs to do before you count 1? It needs to go over and back. 1. Over and back. 2. And there's a word for this. We call it an oscillation. So what I want y'all to do is time 10 oscillations. Which in your procedures, you might want to write an oscillation is for it to do what? Go over and back. In other words, it completes its motion. It goes through a cycle. Are you following this? Are you following? Alright, so we want to go through 10 oscillations. Now here's where y'all also mess up. Y'all get it to swing, and here's the thing. Do not pull your pendulums back like, ah! They get kind of weird in their motion. To be honest, all you really need to do in this lab is just give your pendulum a little bump and let it swing. This is actually a lot more accurate. The equation y'all are actually going to use starts kind of coming to pieces when you start pulling them way back. So all I want to do is give my pendulum a little bump. And here's where y'all also mess up. Y'all start your stopwatch and y'all say 1. You don't start your stopwatch on 1. Guess what? By the time you count to 10, guess how many cycles you will actually have counted? You'll just have counted 9. But y'all do this. Y'all start the watch on 1 for some reason. You need to do what? How are you going to time this? Get it to swinging. You ain't got you just get it bumped. It'll keep swinging. So what you need to do, start. 1, 2, following. 3, 9, 10. And then you stop it, 13.68 seconds. And then guess what you're going to do in your data table? Write down 13.68 seconds. Look at the way your table is laid out. Trial 1, trial 2, trial 3. Guess what I want you to do?
Do it 3 times.
I want you to do it 3 times for each length. And in theory, what should your 3 times kind of come out to for each length? They should come out to what? If everything went good, what would be good? Y'all got to learn to talk a little on these videos. They should be the same. They should all 3 come out. So what you need to do if one of your 3 trials comes out nowhere near the other 2, you did something wrong. Redo that one and see what you get. Do a 4th trial and replace your data if you have to. It's going to sneak up on me. All right. So far, you got any questions? So this lab is pretty easy. We'll set this back over here out of my way. And so now what I'm actually going to do, this is how we're actually going to set up the lab. So the materials that we have in our lab, this is what we call get off of here. This is a ring stand. You're going to have one of these. It's kind of a big ring stand. I'm going to actually turn it backwards. And this is what's known as a pendulum clamp. So I'm going to take the pendulum clamp and I'm going to put it up on the top. I've got a piece of thread wrapped around me. I think Blake already broke some thread off and laid on top of all these things back here for you. If not, just go grab a piece of thread and break it off. And so now, this is where some of you will have your greatest trouble in the lab. I need you to tie the bob. And if you're wondering, what's a bob? A bob is pretty much nothing but a ball with a
hole through it.
Hole through the center of it. So now I'm going to tie the bob to the pendulum. This is where some of you will have your worst trouble. If you're like me, you cannot manage to come on. Wow, this part's kind of embarrassing for a video. If I was smart, I would have went ahead and tied a bob. It's not my fault. I'm going to blame Blake Young. He broke the string, made it all twisty like on the end. Come on. I went to college. Alright, remember what part I said this is the part some of you will have the most trouble with? I wasn't kidding.
Why don't you use the other side of the string? I'm just saying.
This is going on YouTube, Lindsay. Be professional.
Sorry.
Come on. You gotta be kidding me. It's like this is now completely... We are through! Wait, I still got it. Save it. This is where if I had a lab partner. Thank you, Bob. There, now let's tie a knot on here. Now the only thing I'm scared about is with Blake's. Now this knot needs to actually be on here pretty tight. Bam, I got my bob. And I hope this string is long enough because in the end it's going to be 1.5 meters long. This is where y'all mess up. I don't know if you can bring the camera over to see this if you can. But if you remember, what did I call this thing up on top? A pendulum clamp. That's because it clamps. There's 2 pieces of metal, and what I want to do is just slide, and you can, if you really want to do good, you'd slide it right up dead in the middle of those 2 pieces of metal. Man, this is the closest I've ever had a camera to my face. Anyway, so there, I'm going to slide the string between the 2 pieces of metal. This way I can just clamp it. Oops. Let's try that one more time. I can just clamp it. Whatever length I want, all I have to do is clamp it this way. So in other words, do you have to tie the string to the clamp? No, you just clamp it off. And that way you can loosen it and you can adjust it to whatever length you want to adjust it to. Now I'm going to need a lab partner. Now I want you to go ahead and look at the data table. How long does the string need to be for my first measurement? 0.25 meters, which 0.25 meters would be 25 centimeters, right? So this is where I will need a lab partner. So who's going to be my lab partner? I'm I'm waiting. Thank you, Alexis. I knew you wanted to volunteer. So, I got my volunteer. Now, when you write your procedures, I want something to be very clear. When you say measure the string in your procedures, I will make sure you say from the bottom of the clamp, so my partner's going to hold it to the bottom of the clamp. You're doing great. And she's also going to stretch out the tape. If you got a lab coat, you'd look professional here. And what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to loosen the string. Alexis is going to help me. And I want to measure to the center of this bob. How long do I want it to be? 25, and I'm going to hold it right there, dead on 25, and hopefully Alexis will tighten it up. Or you can hold it, one of the two. This is why you need two people. So I'm tightening, she's holding, bam. We got it? All right, cool. So now my partner can back away. Actually, what my partner can do, I will let my partner, I'm going to reset my stopwatch. And so I'm going to get my string out of my way, and guess what I need to do? What are we about to do?
Time it.
Time it, which means somebody needs to give it a bump. No, bump it that way, bump it this way. All right. Now, where is it that y'all mess up? Thank you, Alexis. You did a fantastic job. Now, why don't you bring the camera over so we can see the tick-tockity, tick-tockity. So you can see it going back and forth, back and forth. So where do I need to start it? When it's where? At the top of one of its swings. So I want to start it when it's over here. Do I want to start on the number 1? No, I'm not going to say 1 until I've counted off 1. So I'm going to go ready and start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I got, what does that say, helper, helper?
9 seconds.
9.90. Please don't cheat my stopwatch. Tell you what, trying to shave some places. So what would I do on my data table? What would I do? 9.9. Now what do I need to do? Do it again. So do it 3 times at this length. Now what would I do after I've done it 3 times at this length?
Move to the next one.
I'd move to 0.5, and I'd do it 3 times at that length. And when you get done with that, move to 0.75, 0.1, and all you got to do is get your tape back out, loosen your clamp, and you can, hopefully you can already see something. Now I can see something. Blake didn't give y'all a long enough piece of string, which means before y'all get to the last one, guess what you're probably going to end up having to do? Get another piece of string and tie it on there. And it's a piece of thread. And so, but again, where y'all mess up is y'all do this. Y'all like bring it way back. Do not, all you need to do is to get it like somewhere in here and give it a small bump like that. And that'll keep everything going good. Alright, does anybody have a question about what you're going to do in the lab? No questions. Will says no. Alexis says no. Jake says, no question.
Good.
He's good. Alright, well in that case, thank you for watching.